Okay, let's start. So, hello everyone. Today we are going to finish talking about the database. Yeah, so basically database. So basically we'll finish this exact task. So and then we will So this will be the current topic. Next topic will be that we will go through the project management. Yeah, we'll go through the ways of some different ways of how the projects in IT may be organized. What are the key parts of them? And this will be the last topic from the list. And then, as an addition, we will go through. First of all, I'd like to talk about the file reading. So we'll go through the options how to read and write the files, and then we will also go through try a little bit more. We will go through exception handling, and after that mostly like free time. Then maybe we'll cover some unclear topics for you. So I will give you the option to fill in the topics you maybe want to discuss more. But this will be most likely next week. So for this week, the main plan is that we'll go through now the database. We'll finish the topic about the database, and then we will go through the project management and also file reading and writing. Okay, so let's move on. So the last time we basically created the database table. The database was with the tables. I have this demo. Hold on. Oh no, this one. Yeah, we created the database with two tables, which represents the districts and the officers. The structure of them is taken from the classes we implemented before. Object officers and districts, officer and district classes from object-oriented assignment, and so we basically created the same structure here. Plus, for both of the tables, we added external ID. For such tables, when you have the data taken from some external resource, if it's the file or it is some kind of data migration from one place to another, then you will definitely see the option to fill in the external IDs. Okay. So even for the officers, we could add it. So maybe in future, next time, we will add it as well there. But for districts, we definitely need it, since we have the linkage between officers and districts. So since officers do work in exact district, so this is the part of the structure of officers table, and this means that we have a foreign key for the working district, which will point to the external IP of this exact table. And this is how we linked them. And the main task for us was to be able to execute the code, C# code, and then from this code we could then enter the officers and districts. So regarding the mapping, we already done it last time. So we currently are able to fill in the officers and districts from console. And so what we finished last time is the option to insert districts into the database table. So, and then it means that this time we will do the same for the officers, and for this purpose we would need to then basically create the similar logic, but for the officers. So first of all, I check if there are any officers we can. Oh no, hold on. Yeah, we implemented the logic for districts, and now let's do the same for the officers. So let's do it. And first of all, we start with SQL query. Yeah, remember we need to write SQL query from as the string, so we can then execute this in program. Yeah, so then I will need to build SQL insert query, and that will be insert into officers. Yeah, and then I provide the fields I want to insert. So that would be name, surname. Yeah, this time non-active. That's basically represents that the officer does exist, so the officer does work. So it will always be false by default. Yeah, so then the working district be the next one, and so we will not enter it, and the prime site. Yeah, so this is the main part of the query, and then yeah, so then we can also split into multiple lines this way by using the concatenation. And here we will add the values. Yeah, so this is the syntax what can be used so we do not enter the parameters directly by concatenating the string. We can also do it. Yeah, we can simply concatenate the string. However, this is not the right approach to do, because we may have some really strange strings which will corrupt the query. So just imagine if there is the string which which can transform this query into something else. Of course, this is not what we want to see and to have, and that's why we use the parameterized values. So then that will be name, surname, working district, and crime site. Okay. So and now I can fill in the parameters. So I will then write demo. So there I also provide the type of the parameter, so I can also control it. So then I can simply do the same for all the remaining parameters. So next one is working district. So that would be the external IP of working district. And so then again, this one should match this one. Yeah, so basically the values from here will go to here, right? So and then the type of the integer, since we have external ID defined as integer. And of course that's the parameter. So and then we have the last one, which is crime solved. Hold on, this one. So again, from here the values will be passed here. Right. So okay, this is done, and then we need to add the parameters. Yeah, so I will add all these parameters we have. Yeah, then I'll fill in them from here. So let me just go one by one. I'll delete this one since we don't have external ID anymore. And then I will go one by one. So that will be surname parameter. Next one would be working district. And the last one to be crime solved. Right, and then I go through all the officers. And again, I can use VAR here instead of officer, so that's just shorter approach. Yeah, if you want, you can also use officer. That will be absolutely the same. And here I can fill in the values and execute the query, of course, from the officer object. Name. And I can do the same for all the other parameters. In this case, we should follow the sequence what we added here. So if we add the first parameter name to this collection of the parameters, then the first one would be this parameter, which corresponds to the name. So then the second one will be surname, which corresponds to the surname, and so on. So the sequence from here then should match the sequence here, right? Vice versa. The sequence from here should match the sequence from here. Okay. So and then we'll have that server. Then the third one is working district. I guess that was external ID, right? If I'm not mistaken. So let's see. The external ID, one moment. Git method. Hold on, there was no such method. It was, okay, there was working district external ID. Okay, hold on, so then this would be this one. Yeah. So that's just the different getter approach we used here. And then the last one is number of crimes solved. And that should be get crimes solved. Okay, so then this one is done. Okay, so yeah, let's see how will this work. The program. Let's see if we don't have any conflict. To switch to this folder. And let's run the. Okay, we see we have some issues here. Of course, here we have officer instead. Oh yeah, of course. Some typos here. Okay, we have some syntax errors. Let's see where. Function get name. Okay, don't we have method get name? Okay, that was just different syntax. Just for get surname, that's the same, right? Yeah, that's certainly, I guess that's the same, so we need to just follow the case we have here, and we also forget prime solved. Yeah, normally we use uppercase. Yeah, so for that task we just simply follow the instructions, yeah, which requested us to use definition lowercase, but normally we use uppercase. So do I want to enter districts? No, I already have 2 districts. We tested it last time, yes, so these are the districts we have. Yeah, so district 1 and district 2. Let's add the officers. Yes, I want to add the officers. And the name would be Jack Sparrow. External ID, so I have the external ID of district 1, so that should be 10. Number of primes solved, let it be 8. And yes, I want to continue. Let's add maybe one more. So let's say that's the same district, and number of primes solved will be 7. Yes, I want to continue. Let's add maybe one more officer to the second district. So the name would be something like that. ID would be 12. The number of primes solved would be 17. But I want to continue. Okay, we have stack overflow. That is strange. Where do we have it? That is a little bit strange. That is a little bit strange. Why do we have stack overflow? Okay, that may be the memory issue, but it shouldn't be. Okay, let's try one more time. I will just add one officer to the district. Let's see. Okay, we still have stack overflow, and in this case that is a little bit strange. However, let's check if maybe my memory is. No, my memory is fine. Let's see, at least maybe did we reach this point? So just to clarify, if we maybe at which place do we get this error? So we can print the error message there. Not the error message, but simply to see that we reached that place. I don't want to add the districts moments. Let's try again. Don't enter districts, and I can enter the officer. Let's try again. P9. I don't want to continue. Okay, so it means that the issue is okay, looks like the issue is here at that place. So let's check if the query is correct, because we may get the situation when the query is incorrect. So just to test it, then the first thing what we can do is that we write insert query here, and then we copy paste the first part, and I will not use the corresponding quotation marks here since we don't need them, but it's just in case we have some special characters or just like spaces. We don't need non-active as well, so it has default value which is null, so it means then we can skip using this. And hold on, the ID is also not needed, so let's count 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So in this case everything is fine. Name correct, surname correct, working district, this is correct. But crime solved also seems that no typo there. Okay, so it seems that the command was ready. Let's check, maybe I got this issue at that point. The connection to the database does work now. So let's try again. So let's say no. And let's enter the officer. Label 10, number of crimes solved is 8. Okay, so it means that okay, so the issue then happens at the point of adding the query. Okay, so it means that the issue is then at the preparation level. So this is quite strange. Okay. Okay, maybe we have this point. Let's check. Okay, got this issue. So you can see, what do we have here? We do have endless loop. Yeah. So maybe I will comment it out just in case, so you can take a look on that later. Okay, of course this is endless loop. This is endless loop. Because you can see that we ask to return itself. That will obviously be endless loop. So I point out this will result into endless loop. Yeah. So yeah, so then I just fixed it. Okay, good. So, and right now I guess that everything should be fine. But we just for first test, let's add oh yeah, I don't need them. Okay. Integer, get one to all districts. Let's add one officer. Okay. Here's the question. I guess I don't want select the officer to ID would be 10 and I don't want to register new. Let's see what do we have at the result. Yeah, you can see that the entry is entered here, and I can also navigate to this working district, and this will navigate me to the second district, or to the first district, sorry. So let's maybe try and enter more officers, and that will be fun. Okay, so the district 2, number of crimes so far to be 10. Let's enter more. District 10. Some crime solved. I don't want to continue. And we should now have the entry in the database. Okay. So there is one point. Let's say that we entered the officer which was the district which does not exist in the database table. So let's see what will happen then. Let's see, we'll not enter the districts, we'll enter the officer. So that would be and let's say we enter some kind of district which does not exist. Let's see what will happen. Yeah, we have unhandled exception, since the constraint is incorrect. So we tried to enter the external ID which does not exist. So this will result into the exception. Do you have any questions about it? About this exact task? Okay, so I can then, okay, if there are no questions, then for now we can pause this. Yeah, about the loop, yes, sure. So yeah, maybe meanwhile I also can share the code with you so you can on it. Yeah, any questions are welcomed. One anyway. Okay, so then let's also push the code. Yeah, endless loop would be just simply because you can see that I have the method working basically. This is some kind of the method, yeah, which returns. It's the getter, but it also works as the method. So it basically says that. So if I call this working district, so basically then this getter is called. But what will happen here? It basically calls itself, right? So you can see that this working in uppercase, yeah. So this working district external ID is the same as this one. Yeah, so it will basically call itself. Here we have lowercase, so that's the different one. And this is what we need to call. Yeah. This is what we need to get working district. But in this case, again, I have working district external ID, yeah, with all these letters, yeah, uppercase. So and this one just basically matches this one. And it means that if I call this one, then this one is triggered. Yeah, this getter is triggered, but it gets working district external ID. Then it navigates here because again the name is this one. Yeah, so basically, then again it calls endlessly just by loop. This is why we had this error. Yeah, that was just a small typo. Yeah. This is what, just a small typo. We normally should, I really wanted to get this this variable instead of just going with this. Okay, so that was just a small typo which resulted into the endless loop. Okay. So any more questions? Okay. Yeah, about database, sure. About the database. Let's go here. Good question. So that is officers, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that is just a simple SQL naming, because that's a good question. Maybe that was just maybe I accidentally. That's a good question. To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I assume that. Yeah, so that's quite strange. But I guess that would not be the problem, because you know that the booleans are actually stored as ones and zeros. I mean, in the memory, from the memory perspective, they are stored as 1 and 0. And so 1 and 0, and that would be just simple one digit integer with two possible values, 1 or 0. But I guess that should not be the problem. Let's also test it. And so let's say that we will update the entry. Let's say that we'll update this entry. And I guess I can assign the value to false. See what will happen. Okay. Yeah, that's right. SQL query. Be better. So then will be update officer set non-active equals false. Let's say where let's enter while condition where say ID equals 2. Example. See what will happen. Yeah, it will basically then write the value as 0. But yeah, also from my experience, the booleans are not quite widely used in the database. But so yeah, they can just simply be stored as ones and zeros. Yeah, so let's then check this one. So let's say I want to set when non-active equals true. And then this would be 1. Yeah, so basically, as I said, just booleans are stored as ones and zeros. Yeah, so that is just the way they are stored. But yeah, that's the good question. I also didn't notice. So basically, when I define booleans, I just simply then assign in the SQL queries. I just use true or false, and that works fine. But yeah, so that's a good question. But you can see that's not the problem. Okay, so any more questions? You can be free to ask. Okay, then we can keep the databases. We can post the databases for this next few lessons. But then when we go through the file reading and writing, then maybe we can quickly also write. Then we'll right? And the program which will read the data from the file and then insert it into the database table, and also vice versa. We can read the data from the file, from the database, and then extract it into the file. So that is quite so in some cases that may be quite usual task to do, to migrate the data into the databases. So that is quite usual thing what you can do on practice. But you write the program which migrates the data from one place into another, and also then from and to databases. That can also be the relevant case for you in practice. But so that is about the databases, and let's then, as I promised, move to the next topic, which will be project planning. Maybe give me one minute. I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. So let's then move on. So as I promised, we will start talking about the project planning, and today we will go through some key things what we can face during the IT project. So first of all, there is such usual problem in lots of different IT projects is that the participants are worried about that the race is that they are losing the race, and this is basically the approach that means that at some point the participants of the project, the developers of the project, they actually think that so it's basically just the middle or just some kind of stage of the project, and they just understand that it's not possible to finish the assignment in time, to finish the project in time. So, and this is basically the usual case when the main problems come when we talk about the real life in the project. So in that case, I would like to point to the thing that if we add the manpower to the project, this is usually this is not the greatest solution. This is not what will solve the problem. Because if you just simply have lots of things to do and so basically you wrote the code, you created the program, you implemented the solution, and at some point you just basically see that you cannot finish it in time, then just also imagine from real life, if you have 2 more assistants to help you, then maybe this is not what will usually help you. And the same as there. So just in real life, when it starts to be chaotic, when also from my experience, the project management can add more working hours, ask developers, ask workers to work more. This is also not what will help in such cases. And so lots of many different problems may occur when the project is on the stage that the race is almost lost. And it gets to the chaos, it gets to the lots of hurry, and of course the result is not the best one. But so what the Scrum is, and when we talk about the project management, then the Scrum is actually the process how to organize all this project, how to manage this project, how to build the teams in the project, and that's the part of this is actually the agile process. So we will, in this presentation, we will not cover all the many different agile project organization, agile style project organizations. We will cover just Scrum only because that's one of the most popular ones, and this is also, say, the base one. And it will also it also covers some main points of the project management in general. So we will cover some of them today. And so that's agile process that allows us to focus on delivering the highest business value in the shortest time. So this is basically what's the purpose of the project and how basically the IT projects usually work. So as I mentioned, maybe not, I don't remember. If you work in Accenture or just any other IT company which provides the team to implement or just separate developers to implement the solution, then in such cases there is the customer, the customer who wants the solution to be created. Usually if we talk about large projects, if we talk about the major solutions, then of course the customer should also be to be well known, to be quite large. So this means that basically when we say the customer, from our perspective, as from developers' perspective, developers from the external companies, because but usually you will see that there are some local resources. If there's a huge customer, large customer, just imagine any large company, then they also have their own developers, their own IT people, and in addition, so just for help or maybe for implementing one exact, or maybe more solutions, one solution or several solutions, then there is the order to the IT company, again, like maybe Accenture or similar company, then the company provides the team. Usually the whole process may be a little bit different, so that there is the order. So just the same as in all the orders. If that's any kind of orders. Also, if you know how the government orders look like, so there is the, I'm not sure it's called tender or something similar. Then there are different options to select. So just for example, for the government, that would be that we need to build some kind of building. Then we ask, then we have some building companies who can provide, who can build this exact building for us. And then the best, from the quality perspective and also from the money perspective, then the best option wins, and then they get the order to build this exact building. The same is in IT. So when there is the solution requested by the customer, so there in some cases there may be not much options to select from. Yes, so sometimes there's one kind of trust customer. So let's say that one exact customer works with one IT company for 20 years. Then in such cases, just the customer has their trusted IT company whom the customer trusts, and then this company just simply implements the solutions one time by time. There are no other participants there. However, in lots of cases, there is some kind of competition in between the IT companies to win the customers. So, and then it means that what can, in some cases, especially for large projects, how this may work, there's the customer places the order for the exact solution, what the customer wants to achieve, and then there are many different IT companies who suggest their solution. They may also present some kind of demo solution, some kind of template solution, and of course the pricing, and they provide the pricing to the customer, and at the end the customer selects the best option. And also from IT company perspective, it's also very important what is the budget, of course, provided by the customer, and also how many people customer wants to see and is able to have in the project. Because again, in Latvia, in European Union, we work by European laws, and it means that we work by hours, and it means that the customer simply says that we have the budget for, let's say, maybe 1 or 2 persons for, let's say, 40 hours per week, and then there is the exact budget calculated for these 2 people, or even more. The team has 10 people, so then for the 10 people and so on. So there is the budget, there is the agreement with the customer, and then it's the way how the customers are built. And of course, for us as for IT companies, our main goal is to firstly not lose our customers, and to also just, for sometimes in case, get more people on board on the project. And these are the goals. Since more people we have, more budget we get. But that's from the how the projects work for IT companies. Of course, we are focusing on the best solutions to satisfy the customer, to make customers happy, and to make the greatest solution for them, for the customers. But from this perspective, what you may also see in practice is that you may work with the colleagues from different companies. On one exact project, there may be different companies involved. Not only one company, but also the local representatives, and so you may work with lots of different colleagues from different companies. And so also the team may be built from the colleagues from multiple companies as well. But so that was just a small remark for you to understand how the IT projects may be constructed from, let's say, from scratch. But yeah, also there are different requirements on the project. Sometimes you may need to work with the solutions from the beginning. Yeah, so that means that some kind of new solution needs to be built. On the other hand, you may also have the projects where you need to support the existing solution, maybe do some adjustments there. Also, you may introduce some new features, fixing bugs, and just basically providing everyday support. That may also be the case of the project as well. But yeah, so let's go to the organization. So again, we have multiple different teams. Also, we have different roles. Yeah, so that's also one more important thing, because it's not like only the programmers work on the project. This will never happen. Yeah, so there are in general IT people. There are also non-IT people who work with, who maybe there are end users. There may be some representatives from the business who just explain what is needed to be created, and they explain the requirements, and they also provide their view on the solution. Yeah, there are also the IT people from kind of technical IT people who can who work as the solution architects. Yeah, they explain what kind of solution may be implemented, what is the impact from this solution, how possible it is to implement the exact solution, what the time is needed, what's the budget needed, and so on and so on. Yeah, so lots of different roles there. Also, there are project management. You will see that there is Scrum Master, technical people, non-technical people, people who work in different areas. So lots of different roles in the project. There are in the projects, and of course it all needs to be organized in some way. And that's why we need project management. And today we'll talk about Scrum. And let's see how does this work. Okay, so what does it allow? It allows us to inspect actual working software. Yeah, how does it work? So we have the business. Also, that's the key word here, because again, we as those who implement the solution, we follow what's the business, the customer. Yeah, so if we say the business, this is most likely when we say that this is the customer. They're the main representatives from the customer. Yeah, so we call them business. Yeah. So also the organization of the teams, many different fields of the project when we may work, and also set their priorities, split the work, and so on. And also every 2 weeks to a month, anyone can see real working software and decide to release it or continue to enhance. Yeah, so in this case, when we talk about Scrum way of working, it means that we'll see that this is some kind of not endless loop of the project, but some kind of continuous loop. Yeah, and then basically it means that inside one loop we start implementing, and then when the loop is over, we may provide some kind of release of the current development we have. Yeah, so on practice, the project management is quite old and quite important topic, also kind of theory of the IT projects, and there are lots of different methodologies already invented and implemented. So one of them is agile. Yeah, that's as I said, the main thing of agile is that this is kind of, say, loop when the project is implemented. And yeah, one of its part is Scrum. And yeah, it is maybe the most popular, not sure if it's the most popular, but definitely one of the most popular project management approaches in the world. So lots of different companies like Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, EA, IBM, Lockheed, Philips, Nokia, Siemens, Salesforce, BBC, and so on, they all use this methodology. And yeah, that's basically the most, again, as I said, maybe the most popular project management methodology in the world. Yeah. So when it can be used, it basically can be used for any different projects. And so you can see on the screen what these projects may be, but yeah, so that is lots of different places, lots of different projects where this can be used, and I guess there are no limitations when and where it can be used in fact. Yeah, so what are the characteristics of Agile project? First of all, that's the working in teams. Yeah, that's the working in teams. I will not say if the team is small or large. Most of it should be some kind of small middle team. Yeah, so not the large team. And yeah, so that the organization is in teams, not just simply one team or individually. That is so lots of different teams there. Yeah. So secondly, as I said, we have the structure of the loop here. So it means that we have some kind of series of sprints. Yeah, so series of sprints, usually they have the term, yeah, one can be 1 to 4 weeks, and yeah, this we can call them as the iterations of the loop. Yeah, so it means that there is one sprint, 4 weeks. Yeah, so we implement the changes, then we decide if the changes are fine, we can apply them to the actual product, and then we can move on. And we call such iterations of the loop as, we call them sprints. So that's this point. Next point is that requirements are captured as items in a list of product backlog. So this is what we, so by general, the backlog is the list of the requirements, what need to be implemented. So it means that you say maybe add button, yeah, so make the error message, implement this thing, implement that thing. So each of these tasks is considered as the item in the backlog. So then when we go to the sprint, yeah, with the list of items, and then this is processed during the corresponding sprint there. Yeah, so there are no specific engineering practices prescribed, so it uses generative rules to create an agile environment for delivering a project, and yeah, that's one of agile processes. We will talk a little bit later about them. Yeah, so what is agile? Yeah, I mentioned agile. What is agile? Agile is the structure of project management, the way of project management, which has some key things. First of all, that's the Agile Manifesto. So these are the rules, yeah, how the agile project needs to be implement, because you may understand that how the working environment may work, not only in IT but everywhere. Yeah, and in such cases we may need to think about how to make the employees motivated, how to make the developers motivated, and especially in IT, it is really important problem, and sometimes it gets even more stressful. It gets stressful and complicated in some cases. Yeah, also I heard about one case when not a colleague from my company, but just one colleague, not colleague from our company, but the colleague who worked on the same project from other company. This colleague actually made the suicide. Because of the stressful projects. So don't be scared about this. That was just I don't want to make it stressful and too scary. But I mean the key point what I want to share is that it is really important to think. I mean that's what may happen in all the different jobs or different works. So we first of all, and also when you work with other colleagues and other colleagues work with you, so it's also important to think about that we all are the humans, we all are the persons, and so we all have our limits as well. And so that's why it's really important to organize work, really important to organize the projects, really important to follow some rules and to not shout at your. Obviously, you should never shout at your colleagues, only in the maybe some joking way. Yeah, jokes are always welcomed. Yeah. So, but that's why it means that the project should be organized in the way that it keeps everyone motivated, keeps everyone, say, pretty much happy, without any pressure and so on. And so this is what Agile is about. First of all, we think about individuals and interactions over the process and tools. So it doesn't mean that someone says to you, do this, do that, without any comments from your side. Just take this and do that. It also maybe depends on the environment you work, on the company you work, also maybe in the region you work, because also in practice you may see that, and also from my experience there's different working style when you work with colleagues in, say, in such countries like China, maybe South Korea, Japan, and so on and so on. So there you maybe see some more hierarchical rules, and but then when you work with colleagues from Europe, then the rules may be more liberal. Again, that also depends. But so this, I would say, maybe from my experience, Agile is mostly Europe orientated style, but again, I'm not sure, I cannot speak for all Asia, so the rules may be different. But so when we talk about Agile, then of course we need to think about individuals over processes and tools, and the working software over comprehensive documentation, because also a small sentence about it's about documentation. So since we work on the projects, we do some things and we write the code. We do some other setup. So it all needs to be normally in the good organized project. Such steps need to be documented. Of course, if the project is better organized and what Agile wants to achieve is that such documentation is not what you just simply need to write all the time. So from the beginning till the end, to spend a lot of time in documentation. Of course, this is not what we want to achieve, but the documentation is still needed in all the cases, and especially when you pass the project to your colleagues or maybe some other people, then the documentation is really important. Then we'll talk about customer collaboration over contract negotiation. That is maybe more business side. It's maybe not deeply about us. And also responding to change over following plan. This is the last point. Is actually what is definitely solved by when Agile was introduced, because before Agile had been introduced, there were different project management strategies, like waterfall, for example, and then the process went in the way that there was the plan. So we plan the things. So when everything is planned, then during the next stage there is the implementation. During the implementation you may find some issues, but we need to go next. Then we need to go testing, and if something does not work, then we need to go back and do everything from the beginning. That is what had been before Agile was introduced. And that's why Agile actually is really helpful to respond to the changes. Exactly. So if something does not go as expected, then we can easily adjust it and fix this. And so also really important thing, what I mentioned at the beginning, is the project noise level. So what does it mean? It means that so you can see this graph. So if we go, so we have requirements and we have technology available. So if we have a lot of requirements and a few technologies, then of course it's really complicated to implement such solution. Because again, in such case, this is also important. Of course, the requirements, what we need to create, that depends on the customer, what the customer wants from us, and also the technologies, what are the technologies available for us. Because in practice, we may not have all the latest technologies, all the latest software, all the latest hardware, and of course in such cases the technologies will not be quite good. So in that case will be somewhere here. But of course, if the technology is not quite complicated and there are not lots of requirements, then such solutions quite easy to be implemented. But so in case we have lots of technology available and lots of requirements requested by business, by customer, then that would be anarchy, because if you have really advanced technology, then it also means that there should be the people who can actually work with such technology. And of course, also, even if there are lots of people who can work with this technology, it is also important that the work is actually aligned with such. The work is aligned with different units of your project. And so that is what may be quite complicated and quite important when complex technologies are used. Alright, so now we have this module. Okay, so let's continue. This is actually the process how our sprints are, how our project is organized. So first of all, what do we have? We have project backlog. So this is, again, as I said, the list of requirements what we need to implement, right? So please do this, please do that, do another thing, and so on. So then, at the beginning of the sprint, the team selects, and then we create the backlog of sprint, and then this backlog is then implemented during the sprint, yeah, and so then all these items are implemented by the team, and so you can see 24 hours. This is usually daily scrum. It means that like every day the team comes together in a meeting and then discusses the recent status updates on the sprint of the items from the sprint backlog. And this is the process what happens during the sprint. Yeah. So this is what you can see here. I just explained. And yeah, so once the sprint is completed, then we have the product, or at least something usable from the product, what can be used after that, and then we can also decide if we want this product to go live or not. This can also be decided, and then if everything's good, then the product may go live. Alright, then the next thing is the sprints. Yeah, so this is what I said. We can have some kind of loops, we can call as sprints. And so this is what we have. And this is where we have the progress, and iterations. Iteration usually is 2-4 weeks, but it depends on the project, it depends on the situation. In some cases it may be different, but so usually the constant duration leads to a better rhythm, and the product is designed, coded, and tested during the sprint. So during the sprint we have the testing. We may see that something is not going as expected, so we may have some issues discovered, and in such cases, since we have the sprint which is only, let's say here 2 or 4 weeks, then it's not a huge problem when we make the adjustments there, and then during the next lock we may apply these changes, these issues, we can solve these issues what are discovered during the current sprint. And then we can have two types of development, maybe sequential and overlapping development. So first of all, again, what are the actions we usually do during the sprints? So we have the requirements, what needs to be implemented, then we create the design before we do the implementation of the changes. Then we actually implement the changes, and then we test them after that. So, and basically in this case we do not do everything at once. So it's not like I get the requirements, then I quickly just code and test, then I see there are new things come, then again go to the requirements, design this. No, that's usually done one by one. So there are different teams who are responsible for different tasks there. And yeah, so the thing is that during the sprint we do not require new things to come. Yeah, so if there are some changes to be done discovered, then we wait for the next sprint and implement them there. Yeah, so during the sprint we do not apply any particular changes on the plan. Yeah, and then we have the actual framework of Scrum. And so first we have different roles there: product owner, Scrum Master, and team. Then we have different ceremonies: sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, daily Scrum, and also such artifacts like product backlog, sprint backlog, and burnout charts. We will talk about them separately now, so let's talk one by one. First of all, the product owner. So this is the one who defines the feature of the product, so how the product should look like, how the product needs to be implemented, what is the goal of this particular item, and so on. The product owner actually decides what is the due date of the product to be implemented, and also how it should look like, the content. Be responsible for the profitability of the product, so return of income, return on investment. So it's also important, since we talk about business. The business should also not spend just everything and get a little bit. So it's really important to invest. So from the business, it's the usual case, and that's how the business works. And that the business wants to spend less and get more. This is just the usual case. And the same is here. Product owners should follow such principles. And so that's why it's absolutely fine. According to market value, so follow the profitability, follow the best options to use, adjust features and priority every iteration as needed, and also accept or reject work results of the corresponding implementation inside the sprint. So then there's the Scrum Master. So that's the person who actually organizes the work in the team. So it represents management of the project. He or she is responsible for enacting Scrum values and practices, so removes impediments, ensure that the whole team is functional. So basically everything what is related to organization. So this is the main person who actually is responsible for the organization in the team, in the whole project. And then the actual team. As I said, the team in Scrum should not be large. So that typically should be 5 to 9 people there. So just quite small team. Then it should be cross-functional. Since again, as I said, it's not possible that only programmers work in the project, so there are different roles like testers, user experience designers, and so on. So all these should be the part of the team. So they all should be full-time. That's I would say kind of special case, I would say, but full-time, this kind of special requirement, again, it may be different. Also, in some projects, the assignments may also be different from the time perspective. For example, I'm currently assigned at 16 hours per day, so 2 projects. So this is kind of I won't say special case, but so from the time perspective, this may be quite different. But so normally think we talk about that everyone should be full-time that. But that depends. There may be some exceptions in such cases, yes. So again, maybe not all the roles require full-time. That depends. Yeah, the team should be self-organizing. So it means that the organization comes from the exact team. So how the team self-organizes its work. And yeah, so the membership should change only between the sprints. So when the sprint is started, the team should not normally be changed. So this is actually what we're saying. We have a sprint, so this is like we go for 2-4 weeks to exact development, so everyone is focused on the exact solution. So there's the team, you know each other, you know what everyone can do. So you just simply go and work there. Yeah, so nothing should interfere from outside. Yeah, this is it about the roles. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Small drink. Okay, so questions, and let's move on. So the ceremonies. The ceremonies, the actions, what are normally done during the sprint. So, first of all, that is sprint running. So how the sprint is running, so that should obviously be done before the sprint is started. And so there's the decision about team capacity, about the members of the team, about the product backlog, what should be selected into the exact sprint, and how the backlog should be split in between the sprints, because there may be some dependencies, so that means that the list of the backlog should follow the exact sequence, what depends from dependency point of view. And yeah, so then there's the priority selected. So what's the goal of the sprints, and then this is decided after that. Excuse me. Yeah, and then next one is business conditions. Yeah, so how the sprint should look like from the business perspective, what is the current product, what are the technologies used, and then during the planning, based on these conditions, we actually decide how to achieve the goal of the sprint, because based on the technologies we have, also based on team capacity, what do we have, what we can actually do, and then based on these factors we can get the sprint backlog, what can actually be done during the exact sprint there. Okay. So let's move on. And then the next one is sprint planning. So basically, what are points sprint planning? So first the team selects items from the product backlog, as I said. They are sure they will implement it, and then product backlog is created, and then the team identifies the estimation for the corresponding tasks, how much time they will take, what are the dependencies there, how the team should collaborate, so who should take the tasks, and so on and so on. And also how design should also be planned. Let's maybe the most important. The also really interesting thing is daily Scrum, which on practice may not be daily. Yeah, it is always called daily Scrum, but sometimes it may happen like twice a week, or okay, it's maybe sometimes it can happen every day, but there are also the cases when it happens just twice a week. But that is also possible, but it depends. Yeah. It depends. It is usually a small meeting where the team goes through all the updates and all the items they have in the backlog. That's all the tasks and the problems they have. And yeah, so sometimes the structure may be different. Sometimes the Scrum Master just goes through all the items and just asks the corresponding responsible person to provide the updates. Sometimes it's like we go through all the team members, and then each team member provides the updates on the items. So for problem solving, or I think that all is invited, only team members, Scrum Master product owner can talk. And yeah, it also helps avoiding other unnecessary meetings, and that again, everyone should be focused on the exact work during the sprint. So then during the Scrum, there are just typical updates, what was done yesterday, what will be done today, what are the plans, and so on and so on. And yeah, there are no status for the Scrum Master. All their commitments in front of peers. But yeah, so that is about daily Scrum, and then the next part is the review of the sprint. So this is what happens after the sprint. So that may be the presentation from the team, and the team presents what happened during the sprint, what are the achievements, what should be done next, what are the issues, and so on and so on. So the typical discussion. Yeah. And yes, that is just the presentation about the sprint, what happened there. And of course the whole team participates and why it's the work. Yeah, so everyone also from outside they can also join and see what was done during the sprint. And yeah, so this is what go to the team, what goes to the team sprint retrospective. Yeah, so that is the meeting where the main updates are discussed. Not the main updates, or the main results are discussed. What are the things which go good, which go bad? What can be improved? Yeah, so also some feedbacks on the team members, who worked better, who worked worse, and so on and so on. And yeah, of course, it is done after every sprint. Yeah, so that is basically discussion of the summary, how the things are going, and what can be achieved and what can be improved. Yeah. So, and the whole team gathers and discusses what they like to do. Stop doing, continue doing. Yeah, so this is how the retrospective may go, but structures may be different. Yeah, also from my experience, that is done in the way that before the meeting there are some complaints and queries about what's going on and what can be improved, and then we discuss all these queries during the meeting. But that depends on the exact structure of the exact project. Okay, so then the last thing is the artifacts, the product backlog. So I already mentioned about it lots of times today, so that is actually the list of the requirements. The whole product backlog, that's the full list of the requirements. It can be adjusted during the project, but when we talk about a sprint backlog, then everything is fixed. We cannot add more items, and in case we want to implement more, then should be moved to the next sprint. And so inside the sprint, again, as I said, we focused only on the items that we have under the sprint, and no more to be added there. But yeah, so the full product backlog is what we have as the full list of the requirements. It can be changed during the project, but the sprint backlog cannot be changed. Okay. So that will be the example. So the requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3, requirement 4, and so on. Yeah, so all the requirements we have, there may be the estimations. Yeah. How many time each item takes, and then based on the estimations we may select the corresponding items into the sprint backlog. So we can estimate and split them in the way that we can manage to implement them during the corresponding sprint. Okay, so that's the point here. And any questions, please ask. Yeah. So then we go off the sprint. That's actually the short statement of what's the work will be focused on during the sprint. So what we want to achieve. Yeah, so just like maybe configure a database, or just make one code work. Yeah, so make one feature work, and so on and so on. So there may be different goals and based on different requirements we have. Yeah, then the next question is how the sprint backlog is managed. So usually means that individuals sign up for work on their own choosing. And so the team actually, and the members of the team, they select what they want, what they able to work with. And so they select. And so they take the items, and usually the thing is that they actually they actually have the initiative to take one or another item from the backlog, and then they work on the corresponding items during the sprint. The items they take. Yeah, so it's the estimated work. They also provide estimations for this work, and this update. It's daily. Yeah, sometimes there may be issues that the developer cannot finish the item he or she taken. So in that case, there may be some help needed from the team. Also, there is the possibility that some items are moved to the next sprint. That is also possible. And yeah, so any team member can add, delete, or change the sprint backlog. So that is what happens before the sprint. And work for the sprint merges. So if work is unclear, define the sprint backlog item with the large amount of time and break it down later. But yeah, that also depends on the solution we have. Sometimes there are the dependencies on the task, so that's maybe not as easy to just simply do everything randomly or as we want. So there are some rules. Yeah. So, and this is how the sprint backlog can look like. So there is the split day by day, and also sprint, and also split in hours. And so how many hours one or another task may take. So that is also how the organization works, and of course also the really important thing, how to organize to work on the sprint items backlog items is that we start with in the most possible active way. And then, so the main things are done, and then we have more time, we slow down, and at the end we spend less time on the items, because the main work should be done at the beginning, and then time by time we just spending time to check if everything works fine, maybe also some fixes to be provided, and then we'll finish the sprint in the end. Okay. So this is how it will look like. Yeah, then also the very important thing is the scalability. Okay, so how the team should look like. Usually there are 7, from 5 to 9 people, as I said. And so it comes from team to team, so different teams have different goals. So there are some different factors of in scaling, so the type of application, what needs to be implemented, the team size, the expression of the team, so what is the range of the skills of the team, and so also the project duration, so if the project is larger than and longer. Also, it's really important thing to understand that since again all are the employees or all are the workers, then it is also possible the project is planned for, let's say, 9 months or a year or maybe even more. But then please let's understand that some colleagues may go away of the work, and then of course the team needed to be adjusted to that. And so this is how the scaling works. And so different teams with different requirements, with different skills. So there can be also discounts of scrums, and so teams of teams separate in different areas on the project. That may be possible. Then here you can find some links and lists. And from the theory, that would be it. Do you have any questions? About the project work. Okay, if there are no questions, I guess I did not introduce you with Jira. Am I correct? So maybe just in case I did it before, please let me know. I guess I did not introduce your book with Jira. Just in case I did, let me know. If not, then let me introduce you with Jira first. So, what is Jira? On practice, you will need to have some kind of special software. There are different options you can use. So, in my experience, I only used Jira, and also as an option you can use Teams Planner. So there is also such things introduced in Teams. Yes, that was introduced last year, if I'm not mistaken. That's also possible, but historically, the most is Jira, provided by FSM. So what does this software does? So basically, again, as you can see from the project planning, we have some different items there. So we have backlog, we have daily scrum, we have the backlog of the items, and also each item has the status, and the status can be in progress, it can be done, it can be in testing, and so on and so on. So all this, and also, so we should see to which to which person the item is assigned, right? So that should also be then documented and written somewhere, because of course we can do everything and, for example, in Excel, but I guess you understand that that's not the most comfortable way to do. So for such cases we can use Jira. We can use Jira, and let me introduce you with this software. Yeah, so you can register there if you want. So that is the registration is free. So let me enter my email, let me log in. I'll use my sandbox account. That should normally work. Or not, let me check. Log in. Okay, maybe I can just simply use Google accounts. Basically, when you see Atlassian brand, that is actually, it has lots of different products. So most popular products are Jira and also Bitbucket. So that is the same, similar as GitHub, just another remote server. Okay, so let's start then with Jira. So I can have different Jira projects. Cannot really create a new one, so maybe I'll use the recent one I use. It was used for Java lessons. I'm sure I can't create a new one. So that is a little bit strange. Maybe I have reached my limit. It's a little bit strange that I cannot create a new one. But okay, I can use existing one. So for example, let's select this one. That is quite strange. Let me quickly check. Is it really serious that I cannot create a new one? Yeah, I have to create it because maybe that's the limit. That's one, but okay, that's not a huge problem. I'll just take my test. Here we go, test. And yeah, so that is actually the server where I have, and from here I can create different projects. So let me create project. Okay, let's get started. And so from here I can create the way how I will work on my project. So again, this is the software where I can simply document and manage the items and also the organization of the project. Okay. So let's select Scrum, and let's use the template. So I can select, let's use team managed, or maybe let's use, let's maybe use, let's be managed. Okay, and let's name the project. Okay, what did we talk? So that's fine, and let's create a project. Yeah, and so from here I have my project. So let's again here I can write the issues I need to implement. So let's just add some test items there. Simply take from the presentation. So simply some items from the presentation. Yeah, what can I do? Yeah, so here I can simply I can also change this the category of the task. So here I can see I can select the story, the task, or bug. So it depends on your requirements there. So that can be set up and managed. So for example, I can go to the project settings, and from here I can do some some setup on the project. So let's see what we can change here. So some main properties of the project, and yeah, so we also have issue type. So this is what I said. Here we can also change the type of the issues we can have during the project. And so by default we may see some values. Of course we can configure it for our particular project. So let's say that I am available, a new one. Hold on, I can set up default issue type. Can also add a new issue type. So let's say that would be what it can be. A reminder, or something like that. So then I have a new issue type. I can set and then use this as my task. Okay, yeah, that's what depends. Yeah, so now I have this backlog and what I just presented. Yeah, so that's the team. I can add more people to the team. So again, the project settings, and then from here I can add the people to the team. And so I can select the members, and then add them to the project. Yeah. So this is possible. So do you have any questions so far? Yes, okay, we can do the main setup of our project. This is really nice feature. During the past year I had the project, so when I work with, that's not part of my main job, that's just additional IT project, where I work with the guy who is not from IT at all. He just simply had the idea what we can do, and he gave me the requirements, and so then we used Jira. He was quite satisfied with Jira, with the way how we can organize the work. So we just basically, so without Jira, you would simply need to then write each other the letters, please do this, please do that. Also to make some notes, then store these notes somewhere in Excel notepad or wherever we can store them. And so instead of this, we can use Jira, where we have all the issues what we need to implement, and then we can also organize and apply the status. But yeah, so then let's construct the backlogs. And yeah, so here I have the backlog, and let's create the sprint where I can select the items I can implement during this sprint. So let's say we have 3 items, and we can start the sprint. So I can name the sprint and provide the duration. So it'll be 2 weeks. So the date, sprint role. Let's say test and find how does Jira works. And so then I have these 3 items, and I can start the sprint. Again, normally there are multiple team members working on this project. And yeah, so we have also add the setup, and as I said, one important thing is that we have the statuses. And yes, so hold on. So I have the board. Yeah, so now I have the board. I have a board with all the items I need to implement, or my team members need to implement, and then also the status of them. So let's also check what we have under the board. Setup, yeah, I can change the layout. What else do we have? Yeah, I guess from the Scrum perspective, we should also be able to change the list of the statuses we have here. For some reason I don't see the button here. So there was the button there. So let me quickly check. There is on the section, let's check here. Okay, we have the issue type. Okay, that's maybe that's different scheme. I made a mistake now. No. Maybe one fall, no? Let's check. Let's maybe change it. Yeah, okay. So here we are. So yeah, that's the workflow. And it means that we can add the status, the additional status of the progress of the item. So let's say that would be testing, and I can't edit. Okay, I can select from these. Okay, so here let's say we can, okay, no, that's the transition. One moment, so let's check why I can't. That's the status there. Yeah, so from here I can organize. Okay, so here we go. Go to a .NET Scrum demo. Okay. Let's go to the workforce again. And here we go. And let's go to the okay, hold on. So let's say we have testing, and that would be new status. Okay, so here I can edit. I'm not sure why it was not visible. So then let's say item is testing stage, and the main category will be the in progress. So now we have one more status there. Now let's publish. And now this is active. Let's see, do we have in the bar in the port now? No, I guess we cannot apply it during the current sprint. But then this should normally be visible in the next sprint. Okay, let's double check and workflow we have. Yes, that was published, but yeah, okay. Maybe for this version of Jira this will work a little bit differently, but okay, so I have this workflow. Yeah, I can also change the permissions if needed, but okay, that was just, okay, for this sprint, maybe let's complete the sprint. So let's say yeah, so usually it means that when you start working on the item, then the item is moved to in progress. Okay, so it means that an item is moved to in progress. Under each item, we can add some descriptions, we can add the attachment, so I can add some comments. Yeah, also the assignee is the one who is working on the current assignment. Okay, and so then I can say that, say the item is completed, and then I save, and so I have a comment here. I can add some attachments if needed, some links, and move it down, and that's it. Yeah. So that's it. And then the same can be done with all items. They go in progress. Some actions are done here. Of course, assignee, the one who will work on this There are the branches, but we will take a look on them a little bit later, not today. So the branch actually means that we can also link the corresponding item to the branch in this case that's the bit bucket, with the bit bucket remote repository. Yeah. I guess with GitHub it can also be done. I only work with Bitbucket in such cases, but it is possible to then connect the branch what you have in Git with the corresponding item in Jira. So yeah, once everything is done here, I write the update, and then when everything is done, it's also done. The same with others. Both in progress, they both done, and then we can also complete the sprint and move to the next sprint. And so let's then move to the next sprint. So let's tap on create sprint. And new items there. Start sprint. And we start sprint. We have these items. I'm not sure why the layout is different. Okay, so here we have this column. Sorry, yeah. So now it should be fine. Now the column is not added. Okay. What's not visible there? Hold on, let's add one correct column. Okay, it's just like it's just put it this way, right? Oh yeah, so now I have testing here. So then let's assign maybe for one exact person, then I do some stuff there, I implement this, the solution for this. Oh no, sorry, that's it's in progress. I implement the solution for this, then I change the status to testing, means that this particular solution is tested by someone. That can be another assignee, it can be myself, it depends. And then when everything is done, then I close that down and this is then completed. And so if I refresh it, now it should go to completed status. So then here again, I take the item, I go to in progress, and during this time, during the state when the status is in progress, I do some things. Then again, I pass it to testing. The status will be testing. I'm not sure why it's not refreshed automatically. Okay, let's see now. Yes, now it's in testing. And then, once everything is done, goes to done, and then everything is complete now. And so this is just in short how we can manage the items in Jira board. Jira is quite popular tool used by lots of many different projects. For Scrum, that's the best one, and also just for simple project organization, that's the best tool. Do you have any questions about it? Yeah, so you can try it by yourself. Also, for those who who work in pairs, you can briefly use, and also individually, you can, so that will be the bonus for your project. If you document all the steps you do in Jira, that would be great. That would be one bonus thing for you. If you document all your steps in Jira, you show them in the final presentation, that would be great if you do it. So you can register, you can create your own project, your own. So you should start with the server, then you need to create your own project, and then you can organize it here. Okay. So do you have any questions? So, okay, I assume that no. And yeah, for today there were no more plans, so maybe I can give you the time so you can now proceed with your final project then. Now I can give you more time. And yeah, also for those who have not filled in the document spreadsheet, please do it. And then also please fill in the game you want to implement. Yes, I don't know from everyone. Not from everyone I know the name of the game to be implemented. So please fill in it in the file shared. Yeah, and then I guess for today we can then finish. In case you have any questions, please let me know. And then next time we will talk about the file reading and writing them. Yeah, and now I can give you more time for your individual project, your project in groups. Let me know if you have any questions, and then meet you all on Wednesday. Thank you very much for your attention today, and see you on Wednesday. Bye.